Today, we're gonna start the dough. In today's video, I'm gonna go through the simple steps of starting a sourdough starter. It's a question that we get left in the comments, through messages, customers ask us. So yeah, today's video, that's what we're gonna do. Real simple steps, really easy, give it a go. So today I've got this is our sourdough starter that we have in the restaurant. There's probably 1.5 kilos here. I fed it today. That's why she's very nice and active. Bready Mercury, that's our name. So to get to this stage, our sourdough starter is coming up for 3.5 years old now. So it's a learning process. It's a real simple process, really easy, but you've got to almost learn your sourdough and also be a little bit consistent with your baking. You can take care of her, it's a living thing, I guess. You can leave it dormant in your fridge. So it's not as hard as what people may seem, or if they get it wrong to start with, seems really scary to start with because people mess it up or get it wrong or it's just not right. I've had the same thing. I think I made 3 or 4 before I managed to just get it right. I don't know what clicked, it just seemed to happen. So it is literally as simple as we're gonna add 50 grams of decent bread flour to 50 grams of tepid water, and we're gonna leave that in a jar. I've got a small jar for the purpose of this video, just because I'm not gonna go through the everyday stage because I've got my starter. Once you've got it, it's with you for life. So what we're gonna do is we're literally going to mix 50 grams of bread flour with 50 grams of tepid water. We're gonna put it into a jar, sterilised jar, very clean. Put it into a clear jar as well so you can see the activity without messing about, having to move it around or anything like that. We're gonna, when we put it in the jar, we'll put the lid on semi-tight because it will create gases. Not gonna gas your house out or anything like that, but we don't want it to pop or anything like that. So just a semi-tight lid will help them gases release. What we'll do is we'll add the 50 grams of flour to the 50 grams of water. We'll make a paste. We'll leave that for 24 hours at room temperature. If your house is a little bit warm, try and find somewhere around 18 to 21 degrees. We don't want it too hot because it can react a lot quicker and then almost lose its body. I've had it in the kitchen, obviously really hot environment. We have to be careful where I leave my sourdough to prove, and also my sourdough starter once I've fed it. So we'll just get into it. It's really as easy as try and make sure you use the best bread flour that you can, because obviously that's gonna add to, it's just gonna make it better basically. And if you keep the same bread flour throughout, so when you're feeding and then when you're actually making your sourdough, using the same bread flour, it's gonna become consistent. You know, all the proteins and stuff like that in that flour are the same. They're not gonna change all that much. So 50 grams of just bread flour, and then we're gonna go 50 grams of tepid water. And it's literally a case of bringing these two things together. You'll get a real thick, almost like a thick porridgey consistency. So a 50 gram and 50 gram is a good base to start with. It's not going to give you all that much. It's not going to cost a fortune in flour, and obviously the water, I've just used tap water. You can use filtered water, it's not a problem. We're literally going to add this to our jar. See, the consistency is like a thick porridge. Just make sure all the flour is combined, because basically the water, the yeast in the atmosphere, they're all going to feed on the flour, the water, and that's what's going to release the yeasts and stuff like that. Let me do Maurice. Just want it all out. So this doesn't look a lot when it's in the jar, but by the time we've fed it for 5 days, obviously we're going to have 600 grams worth of starter, or thereabouts. So that is literally it. We'll close that lid up, semi-tight, leave it in somewhere about 18 to 21 degrees, not in direct sunlight, out of the way so no one can touch it. We're gonna leave that for 24 hours. A key to this as well is feeding on the 24 hours. So after the 24 hours, what we find is we'll probably have a little bit of activity in here, maybe a slight bubbling, a slight souring note of the flour and water. So then what we're going to do is after 24 hours, we're going to feed. So what we're going to do is repeat the process. So we're going to get 50 grams of bread flour, 50 grams of tepid water, make the paste. I'm going to pop it into this jar, going to give it a really good mix about. Try not to get it up the side of the jars, and if you do, just scrape it down because it will dry out a little bit. And we're going to add that to that, and we're going to repeat that process for 5 days. So and the key to this as well is to feed it at the same time every day. So when you're doing, if you start it in the morning with your breakfast, feed it in the morning with your breakfast. If you do it at tea time, when you're getting the kids' dinners on, feed it at tea time. So, and then after 5 days, we should get a really nice, active, bubbly sourdough starter. After 4 days of feeding your sourdough starter, you should notice some bubbling, some more activity. You'll see up the jar. At the minute, you can see in there, there's no air bubbles or anything like that. There's no lactic fermentation or anything like that in there. After day 4, we should start seeing the sourdough almost become alive. Whereas in this one, you can see the air pockets. I've only fed her today, so she's not reacting all that well. Well, she's not eating as much. So tomorrow, this jar will be really full, and that's when we be ideal to make any of the products that we make using the starter. So if after 4 days there isn't any activity, give it another couple of days. So feed again, keep feeding until you start seeing that activity come. And then you're ready to make your sourdough bread. Once we've reached the stage of the sourdough being active and eating and bubbly, alive as such, should smell quite yogurty and sour, obviously where we get the name sourdough from. Now, if you don't want to make bread from this straight away, pop it in your freezer. That's going to slow down the eating process, slow down the good probiotics and bacteria in this. Obviously a cooler temperature slows down bacteria, we all know that. It's a good idea to put it in the fridge if you're not thinking about making sourdough with it that day. What we do say is when you're making sourdough, pull it out 24 hours before, feed it, because what we need to do is we need to activate it again. It will go dormant in the fridge. So what we do in the restaurant is 24 hours before I make a crumpet, the focaccias, or the actual sourdough, sorry, I'll weigh out a percentage of sourdough starter, and then I'll feed it with a percentage of fresh flour and water. So a lot of people think there's a lot of waste with sourdough. It's a misconception really, because you look at all this and you think, Christ, I don't need all of that, which we don't. We're going to use all this. But basically, if you had 500 grams and your recipe called for 400 grams, say, you had 100 grams of starter left, you can feed what's called the scraps and scrapings. So if you have literally 50 grams of this left in your fridge, you could feed that again with 50 grams of water, 50 grams of flour, mix it, leave it in your fridge, bring it out just before the day that you're baking. And then if your recipe calls for 400 grams of sourdough starter, what we do in the restaurant is that I'd mix, so 400 grams, I'd mix 150 grams of water, 150 grams of flour, and then 100 grams of my sourdough starter. So I'm not carrying loads of sourdough starter around. So you can really, if you get your baking schedule nailed and stuff like that, you haven't ever got to keep a lot of this in your fridge. A lot of the recipes, when sourdough become very popular, people were throwing half away and doing this, and there was a lot of wastage, which is really no good. Like it's not sustainable, it's not great. So you can definitely utilize the scrapings. It's what we do. I've had it with weeks where we've sold more bread than I'd anticipated, and I've probably had 10 or 20 grams of sourdough starter left, and then I've gone on to feed a kilo of water and a kilo of flour mix. I've fed it with that, and it's come straight back to life. Because as soon as you've got them base bacteria in there, as long as you've got a little bit of that, you can feed as little or as much as you want. So if you get a recipe that you're really happy with, you can work around that. As long as you've got a little bit of the good bacteria left at the end of the day, I'd say no less than 10 grams, you can add fresh flour and fresh water to that and feed it again. Sourdough's definitely go-to if you are struggling with a little bit of gluten sensitivity. Give it a go. We can turn this, we add this, a little bit of salt and sugar, any of our leftover sourdough. We add that with a touch of bicarb, make our own crumpets. Brilliant, great over the fire in the winter. Add it to your pancake mix. We add it to our focaccias. So it's literally got flatbreads. It's got so many uses. So I do urge you guys to give it a go. Don't be scared of messing it up. It is just a bit of flour and water. But if you're passing the restaurant and you've given it a go and all's gone wrong and you want a bit, I'll jar you a bit up. I'll talk you through everything that we do. I'm no expert by a long shot, but I'll just show you what we do, show you how we make our sourdoughs and stuff like that, and I can send you off with a little jar for you guys to look after. So Freddie Mercury could have some babies out there, really. But thank you very much for watching. If you've got any questions or I've waffled on about a load of rubbish that you didn't understand, just drop it in the comments. Please remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Go check some of our other videos that we've been up to. There's a new reaction video out there, which is a bit random, reacting to TikTok reactions and comments and stuff like that. So give that a go. Let us know what you think. And also please tag us in. If you give it a go, tag us in it, like sick. I'd love to see you guys like making your own breads and stuff like that. Or if you've got any better suggestions what to use any surplus sourdough starter for, hit me up. I'm open to everything. Cool, thank you very much. See you soon, bye.